Welcome to Behind the Badge with your special guest, Lieutenant Williams, your news source for all things police in the city of Fond du Lac.
Now, it looks like you guys had a fun little activity you guys worked on, Lieutenant Williams.
Yeah, so part of my job, I feel too, is just to kind of do fun things as well to kind of lighten the mood and like I always say, if I can just offer a little bit of levity on the stresses of police work, I'm going to do that. And I thought it'd be fun to find out what everyone in our apartment's favorite police movie was and to rate them, because I like the rating scales.
Definitely.
I got my energy drink stuff. But I thought I'd bring that to police movies, and we've learned a lot from this study. This is a very educational study. For one, we've learned that us old people, I think we're a lot more into movies than the younger generation.
That makes sense. I know I'm younger. You told me this was going to be the topic, and I'm like, I don't like to watch movies that often, so I'd have to do a little research for this.
And is it because everybody watches like series, or what is it, younger generation? Please tell me.
To be honest with you, I don't really watch a lot of TV, and when I do, it's mainly a sports game or something like that. But when I do try to watch movies, I'm like an old man. I fall asleep, so.
There we go. I'm right there with Officer Clapper there. I prefer sporting events, huge sports guy, and you can keep busy watching a game almost every single night, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, whatever. And then when it comes to like sitting down and watching a movie or TV show, I get more invested in the TV shows where you're watching an entire season versus maybe an hour 30, 2 hours maybe.
And I think too, we don't have as many awesome distractions as you guys have, and I say awesome distractions because we didn't have cell phones. So to entertain ourselves, we would get movies. I mean, I remember going to my highlight for my weekend would be going to a video store and renting a VHS.
Oh wow!
A VHS movie, and I remember Betamax. You guys, I won't even get there with you guys, but anyway, so we made this rating system still. It was one of the saddest parts that we found out, because we didn't want to, if you haven't seen the movie, we didn't want to make that affect the movie's rating.
Right.
So if we told people, if you hadn't seen the movie, don't rate it. What we found out was that the most watched movie, and this is almost embarrassing to say, was Paul Blart Mall Cop.
I guess
One of the worst movies ever.
when that come out, that was probably like mid 2000s, right? I know I watched it in like grade school or something like that, maybe even high school. Like your science teacher throws it on and you just kind of watch it.
You watched it in science class,
and then it turns out that you find out later in life that your science teacher was probably hungover, so you just watched the movie to pass some time.
Oh yeah. So that was our most watched. 2009 that came out.
2009. So yeah, that would have been like my freshman year.
Yeah. So our number one movies rated, and this is good because these are decent movies actually. It was Die Hard. The famous Christmas movie Die Hard was number one, and then End of Watch, which a lot of cops. That is an enduring show for a lot of cops, and it's kind of a little bit more recent, and I think people like it because it's very realistic. So.
That is hands down my favorite law enforcement movie. It's very realistic. The actors in that. Jake Gyllenhaal and I forget the other guy's name. They went and did actual like training with LAPD. It's based on LAPD and two partners. I don't want to ruin the movie for anyone that is going to go watch it after this, but they actually did a month-long training with LAPD, and they did ride-alongs with officers as well. So it's actually realistic. Like watching it, a lot of the cop movies and stuff like that are. You watch cop shows, and for us, it's almost like that's not realistic, or they shouldn't be doing that. I don't know why I get yelled at when I watch movies or TV shows because they're like, stop critiquing them. So End of Watch was actually realistic, and then the ending was also kind of can relate to home as well. It's pretty tragic at the end, so that'll tug at your heartstrings a little bit, but without a doubt, that's my favorite movie, followed closely by 21 Jump Street. That's a great movie.
Jump Street too. Those were all good movies. Just so we can get it all in. The other highly rated was actually the original Police Academy, which neither of you have probably seen.
I've heard of it, yeah, but I have not seen it.
So that is a pretty funny movie. This disappointed me. Our lowest rated movie was the classic comedy Turner and Hooch, starring Tom Hanks, about a cop and his dog. And it was a very good movie. Did not deserve the low rating. Now, I didn't rate this, so I didn't do any of these ratings because I wanted to be that non-biased observer. But we found out that our least watched movies were Copland, which is a great movie, Donnie Brasco, great movie, and Traffic. All three of those are really good movies, but they were our least watched. The oldest movie we rated was Bullet in 1968, and I've never even seen that movie. So that's that one. And our newest movie that we rated was Chips, and that was 2017. So I don't know what happened after 2017. They probably stopped making cop movies for a while. But those are kind of the results we came up with. We have a whole list of obviously other results, in fact, but the biggest thing we learned is that younger generation don't watch movies. And if they do, it's like a series. And so we've actually talked about that, maybe doing like a television series rating next or something like that. But it's just kind of fun to see where everybody's at and kind of gets you thinking about all the ones. We had movies like RoboCop rated, so we had a large range of police movies. Like as long as they were like police related, we had them in there. But otherwise, and we didn't want to. Comedies are hard to compare to dramas.
Right.
But so we just did a 1 through 5 rating. Just how do you feel about the movie? We didn't go into like subcategories and stuff like that.
When I'm looking at some of this list, there's Zootopia, which is a children's movie, right? And then Paul Blart, like we mentioned, that's more designed for the children. But then you have stuff that's obviously for rated R and probably up.
Yeah, Zootopia, like 14 out of 28 reviewed. I think that's a legit movie. I like Zootopia. Like I watched it with my kids, and I'm like, that's one of those adult ones where you watch with your kids, you think, oh, okay.
You don't hate it until after like the 10th time or
right.
You watch it.
It's got a great soundtrack too. I think there's a Shakira song on there. Like it's pretty good. But yeah, so I mean it was a fun thing to do. We'll have to be sharing our results with the rest of the PD. Hopefully they'll get that two upcoming here. So
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised about the amount of movies that weren't watched. There's just looking at this one sheet here, there's like very few and far between. Even some like bigger cop related movies like Bad Boys 1 and Bad Boys 2. Those were like, I remember watching those when I was in probably middle or high school, and those were like the coolest movies back then. And there's people that haven't seen them. Blue Streak's another one that's pushing it. That's probably
a funny one.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
The Martin Lawrence.
That's probably late 90s, right?
So I'm like a cinephile. So like I know all, like I'm very much into movies, but you know what we'll have to do is we're gonna post our list on our on the web page there on YouTube, and then maybe we'll allow some comments and see if there's some other ones out there that we might have missed. Because I would hate a good cop one that we might have missed out there, you know.
Right, 100%. I'm looking at one on this list, and if it's not circled, they didn't watch the movie, right?
Right.
Super Troopers is so funny.
It is so great.
How has somebody not seen that movie? It must be
I know.
sheltered.
Definitely.
I feel like we should this isn't it marked on this one, and a couple of these, like I feel like we should like watch that like as required viewing at the police department.
This person didn't watch it either. They rated 21 Jump Street a 1 out of 5. Wow.
I should probably talk to that person.
Yeah. Too bad their name's not on it.
Yeah, we tried. We wanted to be anonymous, but man, we've learned a lot about our people here. So
Now, is the Naked Gun? That's the one with O.J. Simpson, right? Is he in?
yeah, he's in that. Leslie Nielsen kind of redoes his role. He had it started out as a TV series, and then they made like three movies that are, you know, it's that whole like airplane type slapstick kind of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be in the right mood. I love that stuff, but it's not for everybody.
Gotcha. So over 40 movies you guys ranked here. And you said you're going to have this list on your guys' YouTube page. So if any listeners right now want to see what you guys all looked at, and if they want to maybe throw in some of their own input, maybe like, oh, I thought, let's say Training Day should have been a 5, or, you know, I watched Training Day and I thought it was an awful movie. You know, just give your own insights about these movies.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to see some of the feedback. Usually we have our content designated for kids, which makes it turn off the comment section.
Mm-hmm.
But we can up the ante here because I'm kind of interested to see what the public's feedback is for their favorite movies.
Now, did you say what your favorite movie on the list was, Lieutenant Williams?
So mine's kind of weird. There's debate over this, whether it's a police movie, but we had it on the list. It's definitely Goodfellas.
Okay.
I believe just directed, acted, loosely based on a true story. Great movie. A lot of swear words for the kids. So
I think like there's an F word in the first like opening line in that movie, right?
yeah, I think
There's
it's up
something?
there. Like it's up for like the most. There might be like a couple of Quentin Tarantino ones that are up there against it, but yeah, it's got a lot of that. So if that offends you, it's definitely not. But great movie. Great everything on that one.
I know you're not a movie guy, Officer Clapper, but which one of these stood out the most? I think you said 21 Jump Street, right?
That's number 2.
Okay.
End of Watch is my number 1.
Okay.
But if we're talking like humor and comedy, I'd probably have to choose 21 Jump Street. That movie is just hilarious from beginning to end. Super Troopers is also a close second, but for realisticness, definitely End of Watch. Otherwise, I don't know how many of these other movies I have seen.
22 Jump Street also was not that bad, like for a sequel.
As far as sequels go, I'll agree with you on
Right.
that. Yeah, a lot of times the second movie is like awful. Look
Yeah.
at the Godfather series.
Yeah.
All right, guys, really appreciate the time today. I know we're running really long, and I know editing for the YouTube page.
A two-parter. We'll do a two-parter.
Two-parter? Okay, easy enough. Awesome. Guys, really appreciate the time today for Behind the Badge, and we'll chat next week.
Yep.
See you next week.
You're listening to News Talk 1450 and 100.7 KFIZ.